how do you shop when you're on a carnivore diet? What would be your shopping list if you're on a carnivore diet? You know, what are we limited to eating? And then why are we doing some of this? Let me first off explain, before I get into your shopping list, a little bit on why you would want to pursue a carnivore diet. It's a really interesting and a weird phenomenon that is very difficult to explain. It's very hard to put into words of what the carnivore diet can do for you. I'm going to share with you what it's doing for me. I have never been more locked on or more locked into a diet. I've never been so excited to be on a particular diet. You guys have followed me for a long time now, and you see me power lift. I had a specific diet for that. I had a specific diet when I was bodybuilding as well. And you know, the powerlifting stuff was fun because I got to eat some peanut butter cups and some pizza and stuff like that here and there. But really, you know, I'm not naturally 330 pounds. And so that was a real chore to weigh that amount of weight. So that wasn't that enjoyable. Bodybuilding style diet, I didn't enjoy that either. The bodybuilding prep is a giant pain in the ass. All the cardio that I had to do and all the training that I had to do was just, it was, to be honest, it was too much. I did it, but it was too much. The 6 meals a day, that was too much as well. Eating protein, carbs, and fat every meal and having meal prep going on and that whole thing, it was a giant pain in the butt ski. And I love the results that I got. It was fantastic, but the diet that I'm on now, I look forward to every single meal. When I was doing the bodybuilding diet, as some of you may know, you may have done some contest prep before, you're not looking forward to every single meal. I look forward to every single meal. The foods that I eat on this diet, I'm excited about every single time. What happens is when you start to remove all the other crap out of your diet, whether you're on a keto diet, whatever diet you're coming from, when you start getting rid of like carrots and you start getting rid of spinach and you start getting rid of small cheats here and there, you start getting rid of milk, you start getting rid of yogurt, you start getting rid of all these little things that aren't bad for you by any means. There's a lot of information that would show that a lot of those things I just mentioned would probably be great for you. But they can slow down your progress when it comes to weight loss, especially something like dairy. Dairy is awesome. It's full of calcium. It's full of protein in many cases. Cheese is delicious and it has protein in it. But a lot of times we tend to overeat on some of these foods. And I think that's what happens. We start having other influences. Not only do we continually think about other foods, but we continually fill our stomach up with other food. And in this case, when we're on the carnivore diet, we're trying to fill ourselves up with meat. We're trying to be like having the meat always be the first thing that we're thinking about in terms of our diet. And I think that if America did that, I think we wouldn't have nearly any of the diseases that we have. I think people need to eat more protein. And one way to get more protein is to eat more meat. So that's kind of some of the main reasons on why you do it. And the diet promotes itself. And I know it's hard for some people to understand that have not messed around with the diet yet. But when you start to incorporate the diet and you start to get used to it, you start to get used to the meat, you start to get used to the eggs, start to get used to the bone broth, the butter, all these different foods that we have, and you end up actually with a very wide variety of foods. And then you start to really actually learn to taste things. Your taste buds really change because now I'm not waiting for some weird manufactured thing that's designed to override my brain and designed to have me overeat it and overpurchase it and overconsume it. Now I'm eating things that are more natural. When you're eating meat, there's going to be a limit on how much meat that you can eat. And there's going to be kind of a limit where you're like, whoa, I am really done. Last night I had a ribeye. And in addition to the ribeye, I ate some pork belly. When I was done with that, I cut up some of the ribeye that was left over, and I cut up some of the pork belly, and I made an omelet. And it was fantastic. It was so good. It killed whatever cravings I had. It killed the hunger that I had, and it was allowing me to forge forward. And now here we are on day number 22 of World Carnivore Month. So I am going to get to that shopping list that we talked about. I know it's a long-winded way, but I want to make sure everyone's on the same page, which is page 43. The shopping list is going to be super simple. It's just whatever type of meats that you enjoy, those are the ones that you're going to want to go towards. What are the things that are more in your budget? You might have to join a Sam's Club. You might have to join a Costco. You might have to start looking at coupons. You might have to start looking at, there's apps that you can use as well. I think there's one called Flip, and you can find the best deals. And you have to be a little resourceful. Maybe have some hunting friends. If you have some hunting friends and you're on a carnivore diet, they're going to be your real good friends, because a lot of times they got freezers full of a lot of meat. So the variations of food, it doesn't seem like you have much, but man, let me tell you, there's a giant difference between a New York strip and a ribeye. There's a giant difference between a ribeye and a filet. There's a giant difference between a filet and a rack of ribs. So you end up with a wide variety. I really enjoy pork a lot. I love red meat in terms of, like, hamburgers, cow meat basically. And in terms of steaks, I also love eggs. I eat a lot of eggs. Many of you may be eating some dairy on this diet, so you might be eating some cheese. I've chose not to eat any cheese for the whole month and kind of see how it's going, and it's going excellent with me. I'm really loving the results. So I might not even go back to eating cheese. But if you start to think about, when you start to eliminate these certain things, like let's take your coffee, for example. Some people are like, I can't have my morning coffee without putting stuff in it. Well, then don't drink coffee anymore. Just ditch it. I know that's like a hard-ass way of doing it, but I ditched it. And you know what I was trying to replace with it? I was trying to replace tea. And tea is lame, so I don't even drink that anymore. Like, tea's not cool. Only the Brits are into that stuff, right? And I do have some tea here and there, and I kind of enjoy it. But look, man, it's another plant. We're carnivores. We're trying to mainly only eat meat, right? Maybe replace your coffee with some bone broth. Bone broth is absolutely fantastic. So we know that we have any variation of meat that we can think of. It could be chicken. Chicken thighs are really good. I showed you how to cook some chicken thighs on my Instagram. Another episode of Smelly's Kitchen. I'm going to be pumping out a lot of those. I'll drop that episode in on this YouTube channel as well, so you can make sure that you all see it. But I'm constantly trying to give as much information as I possibly can on this diet, because for as simple as it is, it sometimes gets to be a little bit confusing. The shopping list is not going to be long, and I would suggest that you probably go to a butcher rather than going to the grocery store. The grocery store is kind of a waste of time in some ways. You're going to be influenced, and you're going to see all the bread and all the other crap, and maybe you need to go there for your family. Maybe your kids eat some different things or something like that too. But you really want to focus in on that meat aisle or going to the actual butcher. And I buy a lot of bacon. Last night I bought some pork belly. We've made some pork tenderloin before. We made some meatballs. Any variations that you want to do with any sort of ground beef, you can do. And then it gets to be very difficult to start to be creative on a carnivore diet. And also, don't forget about the crock pot. Don't be sleeping on that crock pot, because that is magnificent too. And then also, like, buffalo wings. Make yourself some buffalo wings. Like, don't be so strict on the diet that you can't have some Frank's Red Hot sauce here and there. People are asking me about like mustard and stuff like that. It's best that you do your best possible job to stick to the carnivore diet and to stick to mainly eating meat. That's going to be the best, most nutritious stuff that you can get, and it's going to it perpetuates itself. It's going to continue. It's going to give you momentum. Once you start to stray from the diet, that's when things start to get a little bit weird, and then you're not going to be hungry for the meat anymore. But yeah, if you want some mustard, you want to throw in some different things, try to make sure it doesn't have a lot of bullshit ingredients. Make sure it doesn't have sugar and a bunch of soybean oil and a bunch of crap like that. But you can have a little bit of that stuff here and there. I make kind of chicken wings probably maybe 2 or 3 times a month, so nearly every week. All I do is I take some wings, I throw them in my air fryer, and then I cook them in some butter, unsalted butter with Frank's Red Hot sauce. So I cook them in the air fryer first, and then I have that little pot going, and I get the temperature up on the pot just a little bit. When the chicken is done, I throw it in the pot and kind of swirl it all around, get that sauce all over there, and my mouth is watering just thinking about it, especially because I'm in the middle of fasting. The other thing that I encourage you to get is bone broth. There's a company called Kettle Fire. They make various flavors of it, but my favorite one is called Epic Bone Broth. It's fantastic. Collagen is good for your skin. Collagen is good for your stomach. The glycine is supposed to be good for your stomach. It can help you digest food better. For those of you that had blowouts on the carnivore diet, those of you that had diarrhea issues and things like that, you're going to want to make sure that your stomach is very healthy, and something like bone broth can be super beneficial. But if you want to know like as much crap as you possibly can about the carnivore diet, and you want to really learn how to be creative with it, so you're not just ending up with the same flavors in your mouth all the time, you're going to start to have an ability to maybe switch things up a little bit. You're going to have to really learn how to cook. So please follow along with some of the stuff I'm sharing on Smelly's Kitchen. I'm the furthest thing I'm the furthest thing you can think of from being a chef. I don't know anything about cooking. I do know how to make stuff that fits my flavor profile and fits my palate really well. And that's why I decided to start sharing stuff out with you guys. I'm very unconventional, but I'm also very simple. And that has allowed me to cook some stuff that I otherwise wouldn't think I would be able to do. So in addition to that, I have here by Maria Emmerich and Craig Emmerich. The Emmerichs have been on my podcast before. They've been here to SuperTraining Gym. This book is absolutely, positively outstanding. They did a magnificent job with this. Not only is it a cookbook, and not only are they giving you references of how you can make your carnivore diet more enjoyable, in addition to that, they're obviously giving you tons of recipes and all that kind of stuff. They also give you the science of the carnivore diet. They're walking you through all different kinds of things. And another great feature of this book is the fact that it has different levels of carnivore. So they even took that into consideration. Sometimes when I throw stuff in my crock pot, I might throw some like onions in there and some garlic. Well, some people aren't cool with that. Some people don't think that's very carnivore of you. I don't mind doing it because I don't mind. Look, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm in it for the long game, and I don't have any issue. I don't have any beef with plants. I think plants can be super beneficial, and I think they're okay. I mean, why else would I be utilizing kratom every day if I didn't believe in it, right? I do believe in it. I do believe that plants can be beneficial. But in terms of our diet and what makes up a large percent of our diet, it's my belief that the carnivore diet is the best way to go. And just something small on that same topic, I do think that somebody made the comment on my Instagram the other day, and I actually think this is very relevant, and that's why I'm sharing it with you right now. I think it's really important. The guy said the biggest mistake vegetarians ever made was becoming vegan. And I actually think there's some real merit to that. I actually think that's a really great statement, because once you start getting rid of like dairy, and once you start getting rid of like fish, and once you start getting rid of like eggs and things like that, now I just think you really handcuffed yourself, and it's going to be very hard to get the right nutrients in. I don't have any problems with people that are vegan or vegetarian. I'm actually very good friends with a lot of people that are. My cameraman is a vegetarian, I think 50% of the time. It's just really, I don't really have any issues with them. I don't think it's the optimal human diet, but I have compassion for our animals. I'm not some savage person that wants to, go out and just shoot a bunch of cows in the head and then start eating them, right? I care about animals too. I have a dog myself, and I think that there's a lot. Look, every hunter I know has a dog. Every hunter I know has a dog, and even some hunters I know, they live on like ranches, and they have a farm, and they got chickens, and they got horses, and they got, right, and they have a lot of animals that they really care a lot for. So it's not some like savage thing where we're trying to like destroy everything and live like a bunch of lunatics. We just happen to enjoy meat, and we think that that's the way to go, and that's the what's going to allow us to thrive as human beings the most. But I really do strongly recommend you guys get this book. I mean, you can turn to any page and you can find delicious options. Salmon and eggs, like that to me is making me hungry right now. Maybe you're not a fish lover. Fish is something that people forget about all the time. Look, a bacon cheeseburger scramble. Come on, dude. Serious? Like, this is part of a diet? Are you absolutely kidding me right now? This is part of a diet? I mean, that's amazing. I mean, look at that steak on the front there, cooked perfectly. Last but not least, it's day number 22 of World Carnivore Month, and this isn't always easy to stay on your path. But if you've fallen off or something like that, please, I encourage you to get back on your horse, because we're not through with the month of January. So if you haven't joined in yet, please join in on World Carnivore Month. The challenge that we're going to get next is going to be awesome too, and I'm really excited to be announcing that really soon. Thank you guys so much for following along. Hopefully that helps you a little bit with your shopping list. Strength is never a weakness. Weakness is never a strength. Thank you guys so much for following along. Catch you all later.